Evolved. God, I bet you haven't heard about this one in a hot minute. God damn. Not many of you probably know all that much about this game, but for you who do, you know why this game was the shit. The game was very unique with its asymmetrical multiplayer 4v1 combat. Massive monsters, hunting mechanics, where 4 of you had to hunt a big ass monster, which the longer it lived, the more likely your ass is gonna get placed back on that dropship. And for all you young kids out there, it's like the goddamn Fortnite battle bus. It had a solid formula, tension, strategy, gameplay, and creatures that felt truly monstrous that you could actually play as. You were either the hunter or the hunted. However, these roles would often swap once the monster became near its final evolution. It felt fresh, with one side being tasked to hunt down the monster, and that was literally evolving before your eyes, gaining new abilities and strength as the match went on. The whole premise had so much potential, so much so that at one point it seemed like Evolved could be the next big thing. Fast forward a decade and Evolved is fucking dead. It's as dead as my ex and she's been in Ash box for the last 11 months.
Excuse me, what?
I mean, there is no better way to put it. A forgotten piece of gaming history you probably all forgot about until you saw this video right here. The servers are gone, the player base is practically extinct, and what's left of it is a small handful of die-hard fans and a few YouTube retrospectives like this one talking about what went wrong. So in saying that, what did actually go wrong? I mean, the game seemed like an OG when it first came out, so why is it suddenly being left and collecting dust on people's libraries? Well, you delectable little internet historians, come along as we explain what the hell happened to Evolve. Chapter 1. The premise had legs. Monster legs. When Evolve first hit the scenes in 2015, it looked like an absolute banger on paper. Developed by Turtle Rock Studios, the same squad behind Left 4 Dead, aka the game that taught us to all be afraid of boomers in a hallway, otherwise you're going to be smelling like the fat chick on a Friday night out. This wasn't some half-baked cash grab, this was Turtle Rock flexing. They weren't chasing a trend, they were trying to start one. A fresh spin on PvP multiplayer, 4 players take on one big nasty boss monster controlled by an actual player. Basically, it was Predator meets Pokemon Evolution, and no, this time the Predator isn't Dr. Disrespect. Each match played it like its own little survivor horror film. You weren't just dropped into the map, you were dropped into the monsters hunting grounds. You land with your squad, guns at the ready, stepping through the foggy terrain, Vietnam flashbacks going through your head as every sound made you clench. Rustling bushes? Could it be a bird? Could it be a wraith preparing to suplex your healer into another dimension? Every moment built tension. You knew it was out there, and worse, it knew you were there. It wanted your ass. And if you took too long, yeah, it was gonna get your ass. And if you remember it like I did, it could fucking smell you from a mile away. Now, the 4 hunter roles weren't just guys with guns 1 to 4, you had actual jobs to do. Assault was your heavy hitter, your Doom guy stand-in. Support kept your team buffed or cloaked. Medic was your life insurance policy, and Trapper, that was the glue guy. The one responsible for locking the monster down and forcing a fight before it had its final form. Without proper coordination, you were just 4 chickens trying to slap Godzilla with pool noodles. And if you were the monster, you were living your best life. You started the match creeping through the environment, gobbling up local wildlife like an eldritch Kirby, gaining armor and energy so you could evolve, literally. You morphed mid-match, leveling up your powers, growing stronger, faster, meaner. By the time you hit stage 3, you weren't running from fights, you were the fight. This was the hang up the phone, call me now and kiss my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical stage of the game. Goliath would leap slam your whole team like an angry meteor. Kraken was basically Cthulhu with a lightning fetish, and Wraith, the busted piece of shit so fucking fast it could spit roast you by itself. And bro, playing the monster was fun. Like unreasonably fun. You could toy with the hunters, you could hear their comms, because yes, monsters had eavesdropping capabilities. I've never had more fun than listening to my friends collectively lose their shit as you drew them for the 8th time in a row. You'd watch them run in circles trying to find you while you were munching on snacks and plotting their doom like a villain from a Saturday morning cartoon. And then boom, whole squad scattered like pigeons. There was a gameplay loop here, and it slapped. The early game was like cat and mouse, the mid game was a standoff kind of game, and the late game, that was straight up war. It had progression, pacing, and payoff, all in a single 10 to 20 minute match. That's a tight design, just as tight as a nun's cunt. Evolve had the kind of gameplay that was this close to being timeless. If things had gone right, we'd probably have Evolved free by now, with 10 monsters, a Netflix series, and Jack Black singing another song about how the Kraken's about to eat his ass. It had everything: solid mechanics, a unique pitch, streamability, a budding competitive scene, and even cosplay potential if you had a death wish and a heat-proof suit. And for a brief, shining moment, it was working. The launch window was solid. Player counts were healthy, streamers were showing it off, everyone was buzzing. You had magazines hyping it up, YouTube channels doing breakdowns, esport orgs sniffing around like a dog in heat going, is this the next big thing we need to start doing? But this is a what the hell happened video, so you know what's coming, and I can taste it. The downfall is coming. Because right when it should have skyrocketed, Evolve tripped over its own monstrous feet, landing face first into a pile of bad decisions, and accidentally drop-kicked its entire player base into the sun. Chapter 2. The Fall of Potential. Alright, so Evolved had the juice, the bones, the sauce. This thing should have been a better duo than the Pope and having a stroke. But no, because somewhere along the line, the marketing team pulled out a shotgun, pointed directly at the game's kneecaps and said, "Let's make some money!" See, Evolve's biggest enemy wasn't the balancing issues, bugs, or even the fact the Wraith could speedrun your whole team into therapy. It was how it was sold. This game had hype. Hype with a capital H. Hell, let's get Triple H out here to show off his glistening pecs to show you how many capital H's were here. Game journalists were foaming at the mouth. Trailers looked sick. Even the big dogs like PAX and E3 were drooling over the demos like they'd just seen Godzilla twerking it. But when it came time to actually sell the damn thing, they fumbled the bag like a fat kid trying to stick to a diet. Let's start with the pre-order chaos, aka whose dumbass idea was this? Hey, remember this? Pre-order the game now to get an exclusive monster, early access to a character, bonus skins, a new gun that does like 0.3% damage to wildlife or something shit like that. It was a clown fiesta. Turtle announced Evolve as a full-price AAA title, $60, and then immediately stapled a mountain of DLC on day one, like they were speedrunning the How to Piss Off Gamers checklist. So the base game dropped with 3 monsters and 12 hunters, which sounds okay until you realise they were already teasing more behind paywalls. You wanted the 4th monster? $15 please. Want to play with the new trapper? Cough up some cash, champ. You want to lick my chocolate starfish? Well, you better ask nicely. And look, it's not that players are allergic to DLC. We've been milked before.
Sorry, did what now?
We've seen EA loot boxes. Their own reputation is in a coffin already. We know the game, but Evolve didn't even earn the right to charge people like that yet. It was trying to drop its pants before anyone even agreed to have dinner. The backlash? Immediate. Reddit lit up like a Christmas tree in a crack house. Twitter was on fire. Forums were popping up like, what the actual fuck is this shit? Threads faster than you could say season passed. Even the fans who liked the game were side-eyeing Turtle Rock like, yo, are you fucking kidding me? It felt like they launched the game inside a microtransaction. And the worst part about this is that it all happened before players even got to touch the game, before the community could build, before strategies could form. Before any of that, they burned trust. Trust is what gets people to stick around, and Evolve shot that trust square in the face. Even though the gameplay was tight and fun, and felt like a sweaty game of hide and seek with a nuclear bear, the optics were trash, the rollout reeked of corporate greed. People didn't see a slick PvP monster hunting experience, they saw a live service crash, vacuum dressed up like a AAA title. And it got worse if you can believe it. Because even after launch noise, even after the "hey, we hear you, we'll fix it" press cycles, even after trying to claw some goodwill back with the community by making free characters and minor updates, the damage was done. The stench of this game is a cash grab was baked into the public perception like a fart in a sealed elevator. Once people think your game's scummy, even if you pull a full 180 degree and go full saint mode, it's over. That's the black mark. That's the don't touch it tag, you're radioactive. And Evolve was glowing in the dark by the end of its first few months. The player count? Tanked. Dropped like it tripped over its own matchmaking. You'd go online looking for a match like you're trying to revive a dead MMO from 2004. Queue times were stretching longer than monster evolution cycles, and once players realised they could get in other games faster, they started dipping real quick. Evolve wasn't just bleeding, it was hemorrhaging, and the devs were handing out band-aids to heal gunshot wounds. Kind of like in Battlefield where the marketing team built a rocket and launched it straight into the fucking ground. Chapter 3. Stage 2. A second chance? Okay, so at this point, Evolve wasn't dying, it was already dead, rotting in the Steam charts like a bloated space carcass. Player counts had nosedived into the Earth's core, the community was a ghost town, and every time Turtle Rock tweeted, it felt like a desperate dude texting "you up" to an ex who already blocked their number. And that's when it happened. Evolve Stage 2. The Hail Mary. The "oh my god, please come back" update. This was the moment Turtle Rock grabbed the defibrillators and tried to zap Evolve's lifeless ass back into relevance. Like when Mia Khalifa left her film industry to go start doing sports commentary, before eventually going back. And to be fair, Stage 2 actually slapped. Like if this version of the game had launched from day one, we might be living in a different timeline. They stripped off the price tag, free to play baby, anybody with a PC and a pulse could hop in. They rebalanced the entire game, reworked progression, smoothed out a lot of the bullshit, toned down the Kraken's "I become Sky Nuke" phase, made tutorials not suck, added challenges, rewards, skins that didn't feel like actual scams. Basically, they came out swinging with genuine improvements. It was leaner, meaner, it was faster, smoother, and somehow fun again. The monster gameplay still hit like a goddamn truck. The hunter team play, tighter than a pinky finger up a bumhole. Suddenly, it felt like Turtle Rock remembered why they'd made this game in the first place. They dropped the corporate suit and tie and showed up in ripped jeans with a beer saying, "Yo, we get that we fucked up. Maybe we should try again." And the community, we saw the glow up. Players started trickling back in, Twitch had a tiny pulse, Steam charts did a little spike thing, and the subreddits had a moment of unity where everyone collectively went, "Holy shit, is this actually good?" But here's the problem. You only get one first impression. And the Evolve had already wasted theirs smearing poo all over the walls, like some of my clients that I work with, and I swear to God, I still can't get the smell out of my goddamn hands. And they did this by charging $15 for the privilege of looking at it. Stage 2 was solid, but it was also a last-ditch effort, like trying to save a relationship with flowers after you cheated on Valentine's Day. You don't get trust back just because you said sorry and started showering again. By the time Stage 2 dropped, most of the original players were gone. Like, gone, as in uninstalled, blocked on Twitter, sold their copy to GameStop, and aptly forgot all about it. And the new wave? They were skeptical free-to-play players. They don't give a shit about the game and second chances, they just care about the vibes. And to them, Evolved was just still a motherfucking dead game. And worse, Turtle Rock didn't get the support they needed to make Stage 2 stick. This wasn't the live service revival the publisher's backing. And worse, Turtle Rock didn't get the support they needed to make Stage 2 stick. This wasn't a live service revival with publisher backing. This was them duct taping together a second win with a tight budget while 2K stood in the background doing the publisher equivalent of... So despite the improvements, the buzz faded fast, no marketing push, no huge relaunch, just silence. Like shouting into a canyon and hearing your own voice echo back. It's actually good now, good now. I would rip ass into the mic now to be funny, but my mic's fucking expensive. Eventually Turtle Rock pulled the plug, no updates, no more support, just a farewell post and a quiet goodbye. Servers still technically existed for a while, like some haunted theme park that forgot to close, but the dream? That shit was 6 feet under. And Stage 2? It wasn't a second chance, it was a goddamn funeral. Chapter 4. The Post-Mortem Dissection. Let's not sugarcoat it. Evolve didn't just trip on a banana peel and die on its own shameful puddle. Nah, it got strangled in the curb by a fat-fingered executive in a pinstripe suit who thought asymmetrical horror shooters meant loot box simulator with a side of fangs. And the executive was working for 2K. Yep, 2K Games, the publisher equivalent of a sleazy landlord charging $600 for a closet and then wondering why nobody renewed their lease. These guys saw Evolve not for what it could be, but for what they could sell. And oh boy, did they sell the ever-loving piss out of this thing. Let's rewind to the launch window. You remember how the base game dropped with a price tag? Yeah, $60. Cool, that's fine, standard fee. But then, oh no, the DLC started rolling in like a tsunami of bad decisions. At launch, there were paid monsters, paid hunters, skin packs, weapon cosmetics, and enough premium fluff to make even EA blush, and that is so difficult. And it's not just like, here's a season pass, we're talking about $136. total if you wanted the complete Evolved experience. A full-on nickel and dime fiesta, and 2K was the DJ spinning ka-ching by Soulja Boy on loop. Imagine this, you just dropped 60 bones on a game, and within 5 minutes of booting it up, the store page is like, "Hey, want this monster? That'll be extra. Want to play that cool support character? You better fork it over, you little bitch.
What the fuck is happening?
Give me money, worm." The whole thing felt like a damn gotcha game with none of the anime budgets, and you boys know what that means. To even soften the blow. And listen, monetization isn't evil. Games need to make money, but there's a line between sustainable revenue models and back alley organ harvesting. 2K pole vaulted over that line, landed in the parking lot, and started trying to sell your own kidneys back at a discount. This wasn't just poor timing or bad press, this was straight up sabotage. Evolve's core gameplay was solid, the player base was interested, the premise was fire, but all of that got buried under a fucking avalanche of buy discount pop-ups. And instead of taking feedback and dialing it back, 2K doubled down. Oh, they hated the DLC? Clearly we need to make more DLC then. Oh, the player count's dropping. Must be time for a $5 helmet skin. That'll fix it. They didn't get it. Or worse, they didn't want to get it. Because from a corporate perspective, they probably looked at Evolved and saw Destiny dollars. They wanted a live service cash cow without doing any of the groundwork, community building, or listening to the people who actually played the damn game. And the sad part, Turtle Rock knew. You could feel it in their updates in their community posts. In stage 2, these devs were trying to steer the ship back on course, and 2K was just dragging the wheel, leading them towards the iceberg, yelling, "Trust me, bro, this is how you milk a whale." That was a shitty pirate impersonation, fuck. So Evolve tanked, and the narrative became, Evolve failed because no one wanted it. Wrong. People did want it. We just didn't want a fucking receipt slapped to every cool feature. 2K's meddling didn't just stunt Evolve's growth, it nuked the damn soil so nothing could grow there again. They poisoned the players' trust, shattering momentum, and turned the promising, innovative shooter into a cautionary tale about corporate greed dressed in camo skins. And the worst part of it all, 2K walked away clean. No apology, no our bad, just silence like they slipped out of the back door while Turtle Rock was left holding the funeral bouquet for their own game. This wasn't an accident, this wasn't a random flop, Evolve was murdered. By spreadsheets, by greed, by boardrooms full of people who thought monster hunting was just a weird way to say exploitable IP. And the industry still hasn't learned. So, is there a world where Evolve makes a comeback? Maybe. Stranger things have happened. No Man's Sky went from scam to salvation. Cyberpunk had its glow up. BattleBit Remastered proved that indie games can dominate. If Turtle Rock or even someone else ever got the rights back and gave Evolve a proper relaunch, cut the bloat, focus on the gameplay, give it a modern engine, polish, and maybe crossplay, but that window is closing fast. The gaming world doesn't just move on, it sprints. If Evolve is coming back, it'd need a major overhaul and a massive reintroduction to a new generation of players who probably think asymmetrical multiplayer just means Among Us with guns. Until then, Evolve stays in the vault, a relic, a reminder of what happens when potential meets poor execution. So Evolved, it tried to be different, it was different, and it got crushed under the weight of its own hype and a publisher that treated it like a damn cash printer. But underneath all of that, a genuinely good game that just wanted to let you fight monsters with your friends and sometimes be the monster. Let me know what your experience with Evolved was in the comments. Were you a day one hunter, a late to the party monster main, or are you just realizing this game ever existed? Either way, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you want more gaming autopsies like this, and ring that bell so you don't miss what we've got cooking in 2025. So again, thanks for watching, and as always, keep evolving, or at least don't get stuck at stage 1.